Stop that. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. So that today's race focus: know the route, predict the attacks, push the pace, try not to die, protect the innocent. What? Anyway, also, and this has raised an ethical debate: what do you do when a rider on the opposing team suffers a dropout? Well, you're about to find out. Well, not right now. Soon. So this is speeded up, obviously. 3.5 speed or something. I don't know. We're on coast to coast. It starts near the bottom of the grade. Scrat about down here, all these lovely weird colours and strange things going on. You see I've got the draft gauge, the wheelbarrow gauge, some other gauges and some gauges and gauges. We've got 5v5, and obviously because I've asked that question about the dropout, it drops to 5v4. ATGNI, all the gear, no idea. Steel, I think they've got 3 teams on the ladder, so this is their mid team. Maybe they've got 4 teams, I can't remember. Anyway, but they're a very strong team. They've swapped some riders around, and they've got some very strong guys here. One guy pushing the front at the moment, Glenn. Another guy, more beer, and probably their strongest 20-minute power guy, Joey, JD or Joey, and the other guys are big diesel engines, probably not too suited to the end of this course if you're familiar with it, with the com, but they certainly make it tough for us along here. So we're waiting for attacks. They are the challenging team, so they're I think 3 places below us on the ladder, so they're trying to leapfrog us, and so we're just basically trying to defend. If you haven't raced this course before, coast to coast, all the way along this southeast edge of Watopia, heading towards the desert roundabout the end of Fuego Flats area, but it's not totally flat. You'll see the gradient goes up and down, and there are some hot spots, if you like, some particularly this bit here, as the gradient just starts kicking up around about now-ish, and starts making it a little bit tricky for groups. We got Pete Vale in the orange hat there. Don't know why he wears that. Maybe he just keeps his brain warm. But he's our diesel engine. He's able to kick out, 4.5 watts per kilo for 20 odd minutes. He is an A rider, but he's not been racing much, and so he's dropped down a few levels in terms of ladder racing and the Zwift racing app thing, but he'll probably scoot back up very soon. But we're using him to really keep the pace high and make it just tough for maybe some of the sort of more spiky attacks to take place. Having said that, they do take place, and there is one spot coming up soon in the next few kilometres, where it's the woodland sprint, and again here you can see the gradient kicks up just coming up to the lighthouse thing, and these are all little areas where people may just try and just push the pace a little bit, so we're all looking daggers at each other as usual, and waiting for things to kick off. It never quite does for these first few K. We're all a bit cagey. I've got my special hat on that gives me special powers. Don't know why nobody else doesn't wear it. It's a magic hat. So anyway, we are now just coming down to the woodland sprint. If you were to do this section, that's where the sprint begins. We've already passed it. For some reason, our resident nutter, Kev, he's seems to have gone for Fallon FTS, even though it's not a points race. Don't know what you're doing there, Kev. I think you misunderstood when to go, but this is where you go, and this is the first rise out of the woodland sprint. It's all kicking off. You can see people are trying to close gaps. Kev and I were given that responsibility just in case things did kick off, to try and give Neil Beatty and Pete Vale a bit of a chance to not have to use up all their matches trying to stay on. So that was the first part of the Woodland Sprint with regards to, that kick out of the Woodland Sprint. It goes up again now. I don't think it gets more than about 4%, maybe 3% maximum. But again, it's another bit where powers will go up to around 5 watts a kilo. And, the pace is high. And this is where riders are very much at risk of getting dropped, because as soon as you go up, there's a little bit of a descent. So if you get maybe 5 or 6 meters gap, that can soon grow to 20 meters very easily, and you're out of the draft and spat out. So in all ladder races, it's about trying to drop one rider from the opposing team as soon as you can. So we're all coordinating ourselves. We're obviously chatting to each other on Discord, and we've got some DSs. We've got Patrick Karlstrom and Captain Mark Rigby giving us reminders about the opposing. Why can't I speak? The opposing riders' power numbers. So when they spike, when they look like they're about to try and attack, they'll give us the heads up, which is useful for me because I'm never really paying attention, because I'm hanging out my backside. So this is the end of the desert road. It goes around this roundabout. Pete's been given the instruction to really push the pace up the rise here towards Titans Grove, but I go on the front to try and lead him out. Look at that, absolutely magic. The hat, the pistons, it's all going off. I'm leading him out. I'm going. I'm not sprinting. I'm just trying to give us a bit of a chance. So I ease up. They can chase. Pete's off. He didn't quite get the gap, but he certainly made it hard for them, and they're chasing and chasing and chasing. If they'd eased up, he would have been gone. Pete would have been gone. The thing with me is that if I do an effort like that, I'm creeping up a bit in years, and lots of you will vouch for this. I find it very hard to recover straight away, but thankfully there's a bit of a downhill, but I'm always at risk of not really paying attention to the gap. It opens up, I'm panicking a bit, putting a bit of a squirt, but one of their guys who's wearing a different kit, KB, he actually eases up, so that's very kind of you, and I get a bit of a draft. Then Kev and Chris Lawrence both ease up. Kev actually doesn't have steering, so I'm stuttering again. He's struggling finding the draft because he can't steer to get in the draft, so he's hopeful that people won't be steering. Anyway, we're coming up to the bit where obviously I've slowed it down, so the guy on the green Tron who's next to me, he's coming through, he's on the front now. What do you do in this situation? You're about to see him disappear. He's called More Beer, so maybe he's off on a beer run to go and get some more beer. That's very kind of you, but 3, 2, 1, there he is, he's gone. Very unfortunate. What do? Do you A, ride on? Do you B, ease up? Well, it looks like we've eased up, but that's just the footage being real time. So I'll speed it back up again anyway. We are aware that he's dropped out. I message Glenn, I think responds with, yeah. The thing with the dropouts is that the rider who's experienced the dropout, they might actually still be in or on the map. There, he's reappeared. He's way back. He's 40 seconds, 50 seconds back. He's not riding. You can see him on the bottom on the right of the rider list. We just have to keep going. There may have been a chance that he reconnected and had put in a bit of a squirt and actually been ahead of us, as if he'd used a ghost power-up. Obviously there's no power-ups on this, but unfortunately for him it makes it 5v4. It's very sad, because obviously it skews the whole race. We, in the spirit of just racing for the fun of it, we crack on, and maybe, well, is it bad sportsmanship? I don't know. There's part of me that thinks, oh, we should have eased up and should have waited, because we all put in efforts to sign up and organise our time and family life and whatever work-life balance to do these races, and then one of you suffers that dropout, and it's frustrating as hell. We've all been there. Well, if you haven't, you may have witnessed it happen to somebody, but it's happened to me, and I think it was a few years ago, but it has happened to me in a race where I did end up reconnecting, but I was off the back and I couldn't get back on. So more beer, I feel your pain, but he's now actually fully dropped out, I think. He just completely drops out. He was actually live streaming their race as well, so maybe he kept the stream going. I'm not sure. So we're up the U-bends here. Again, the gradient spiking. It looks fairly sort of innocent, but it is enough of a gradient to put in these digs. Nothing too spiky, but enough to raise the pace. You can see, I don't know, what am I doing over there? Oh, I'm trying to get Kev back in. Kev and I work well together with Chris as well. We're all trying to sort of make sure nobody sort of gets dropped, because if we do get dropped, it's a bugger to get back on. I was almost dropped again there. We're on the dirt track through the Italian villas. I've put in an offer for a house there. I'm waiting to hear back. The estate agent is just all spaghetti and bolognese. I don't know what he's talking about. Flat road to the volcano. Where's the volcano? It's there, man. How do you not know it's there? You can see it. Anyway, you can see Kev's not in the draft again. I'm in the draft. I'm saving about 140 watts or something. You can see in that sort of red orangey draft gauge on the bottom left. Kev's been told try and go to the front and then slow it down a bit, and then they'll all sit in your draft because it steers automatically if you're on the front, and then hopefully he eases up, but he's now back in the group. Those of you not familiar with the route, we're obviously coming around the volcano, and then we turn left onto the new part of the Watopia map, and what's it called? The Jarvis Com. It'll pop up anyway. So when we come back round, this is actually the finish line, this finish arch here. So next time you see this, we'll be going a little bit faster, but we're all hanging on. Thumbs everywhere, obviously. Got to do that out of respect. You can see the gradient kick up with this lovely multicoloured celebratory Watopia road tarmac thing. What am I talking about? Kev's gone to the front again. We're pushing the pace. We're trying to drop two of their riders. It's my magic hat, isn't it? Up we go. Kev and I swapping roles. If I push, he'll then come through, and then we push again. Bit of a rope-a-dope. We know that two of their riders are suffering, and we're all suffering. But we've got to try and drop them because we don't want to take all four to the end. We go again. If you're hanging off the back a little bit, you can come through and use the draft. I'm still getting draft on here. The gradient, I think it's above 8%, there's no draft. But we're also keeping an eye on that JD. Glenn's more about the sprinting, but he is a strong rider. KB is now really struggling. He's 20 seconds back, so he's gone, I think. Yeah. And we're trying to also now drop R. Crofts. So I think it happens around about here. We'll push the pace on again soon, and R. Crofts is on the back. And then as we just come up the final part of the com, Crofts is now, you can see on the map, he's a few seconds behind. I push the pace again to get us some good speed on the downhill, and Crofts has gone. We're now just finishing the descent. It's still -2. There is a sprint segment here, but we're obviously not competing for that. We've got about a kilometre left. So this is the Jarvis sprint. If we ever did this race on a ZRL or something and it's a points race, you'll be going hell for leather here. Interesting place to have one. But the positioning here, Pete Vale for us is really pushing hard. He's going to lead us out. We're all trying to recover. Personally, I should have gone a lot earlier. I reckon I can, but I don't know what my sprint effort would have done if I'd have gone now, maybe with 400 metres to go to my teammates, whether we'd all have been able to get the positions we got. But we wait, and it's actually Glenn that goes first, and that's that's all he needed. So you watch his power numbers suddenly jettison to 10 something. I go with him, but I wait. I hesitated. I'm doing good, decent power. Maybe if it had been a bit of a longer sprint, I might have got him. He steers to the left a little bit, and actually I lose his draft. I wouldn't have got him. But it was a great race. So about 40 minutes there. We got second, third, fifth, sixth and seventh, which was enough to give us the victory. It was a shame about the dropout. And hats off to you, Glenn. That was a great sprint at the end. That's what it's all about, guys. That sort of effort at the end. It does matter which team you're on, but essentially it doesn't. It's about just motivation, keeping the training going and enjoying it. That's how the ladder works. So they're the results. You can see at the bottom, the DNF did not finish for more beer. Unlucky guys, unlucky dude. But yeah, thank you to ATGNI Steel, all the gear, no idea, unlucky with the dropout. And cheers to our DSs, Captain Mr. Riggers, Rigby and Patrick. You can do it, Karlstrom. Cheers guys, we'll see you soon for more madness.